Hello, welcome into my workshop and welcome to the show Creations of Clay. My name is Louis Palladini, and tonight I'd like to do an animal that everyone is familiar with. I want to do a blue whale. The blue whale is the largest mammal on the planet. They reach over 100 feet and they're well over 100 tons when they're fully grown. I'll show you what the types of clay that you can use to make this. There's an oil-based clay, such as this, which never hardens. I used to use this all the time as a kid, and it's a really good clay to use. And when I got bored with it, then I just rolled everything up into a ball again. There's another type of clay that you use called air hardening clay, which hardens in a couple of hours overnight. And if you use this, what's great about this is once it hardens, you can just paint it and it'll be permanent. My preference for the clay is a clay called super sculpey, which can be baked in the oven about 275 degrees for about 15 or 20 minutes. And what's great about it is you can do a tremendous amount of detail, and it doesn't harden until you actually fire it. So I'll show you the size balls of clay we'll be using tonight. And I'm going to make it easy. I have about 5 balls of clay here. There's 2 balls of clay here. I'll show you, you can hold that. Those are going to be for the tail flukes on the whale. And then these 2 are going to be the front flippers. And then this piece of clay here is going to be the actual body of the whale. So I'll show you how we're going to shape this. I'm going to pull this up and I'll show you quickly. This piece of clay here, we're going to be making the entire body like this with that piece of clay right there. So I just give you a good view of what it looks like and the shape that it's in. So now I'll take this and I'm going to take and squeeze it between my hands like this. It's a good workout when you're doing this, because and I'll show you, just see how the shape we're making? This is going to be where the tail is, where the tail flukes are, and this is going to be the actual head right here. See the shape I'm making? See, I'm kind of bringing that into a narrow point almost. I'll show you, that's what it's going to look like from the side. That's what it'll look like from the bottom. Now that's what it'll look like from the other side. So and what I'm going to do is, I might even just roll it in the table a little bit, because that'll help us now that we got it this far along. That way I can even it out a little more. So what I want to do here, this is the actual tail. So I'm going to flatten this out a little bit. See, I'm taking my finger and flatten this out a little bit like that, pinching it like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom too. Because a whale's tail, it's a little flatter as you get now down near the end of it. Just like that. See how I'm doing that? See that? That's actually the bottom part. And this here's the top. And now what I want to do is I want to take my thumb and kind of smooth this out a little bit. Smooth that out. Smooth out the whale. But before I do that, I just want to check it against my other whale. See how it looks right there? See how we got the nice shape? See how from the top, how that looks? And that just gives you an idea of we're really coming along nicely with it. But what I want to do is smooth this out a little more though, the skin. So I'm going to take my finger and just kind of go over it like that and smooth it out. Just like that. Just like that. See how we're smoothing that out nicely? Just like that. Just smooth it out. See that? How that's looking? It's looking nice. And now what I'm going to also do too is I want to put this down on the table to kind of flatten it out a little bit in the bottom so it doesn't roll over on me. See how nice that looks? The next thing that I want to do is I want to make what they call the tail, or they call them the flukes. And that's this piece right here. I'm going to make those and add them to the tail. And that's what actually helps propel the whale through the water when he moves his tail up and down. So I'm going to take these 2 balls of clay here, and I'll show you the shape that we want. You see, you take and you flatten it out this between your fingers like this. And then the shape that you want, I'm going to take and kind of make it, see the shape that I'm making right now? We're taking that, flattening it out a little bit. Flatten it that way, but then see the shape that I'm making? It almost looks like a fin. So we take that. See, that part's flat, and that, and you just take, and see I'm making that shape? Just like that. And then what we're going to do is going to do the exact same thing with the other piece. So take this ball, flatten it out, like that. But then what we do is we'll start to make that basic shape. And I say it'll look like a fin. See that? See, I'm doing that. Just like that. That's nice and flat. Then this, see how I'm taking my fingers and kind of making that shape like that. Just like that. Now what I want to do is I want to compare these two, make sure that they're roughly the same size. It looks like, okay. This one might have a little extra clay on it, so I'm going to pinch a little clay off of it, because I want to make sure that they're pretty much the same size. Yep, they're getting there. Just like that. See that nice shape? And we'll compare these again. Yeah, and it looks like they're about the same. So what I want to do now is I want to take this, see this, the tail here? And I want to place it right there. Like that. See how I did that? Now we're going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to see, I might actually add some of that clay back here that I took off, because it'll help me to flatten it out a little bit. See that? See the shape? Now we're going to take this and go like this. See how I did that? And then what I want to do is I want to take one of my sculpting tools, and I want to take and make sure that these are, see I'm taking that and pushing the clay up against the piece like that. See I'm doing that? And I want to do the same thing on this side, because I want to make sure that they're connected. And then we'll flip it over and do the same thing on the other side. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth this out a little bit too, now that we've done that. We'll do the same thing. I'll roll it over here. I'll smooth that out a little bit. I want to make sure that they're okay. See how nice that is? So these are what they refer to as the flukes on the whale, and then his tail goes up and down like that when he swims. And that's what propels him through the water. The next thing that I want to do is I want to make the flippers on the side. And I'll show you where those are. See these flippers here? We're going to make 2 of those. And then we're going to attach them to the whale. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take these 2, and I'll do 1 flipper at a time. So we're going to flatten this out like it's showing you like that. See how we flatten it with our fingers? But then what we do is we come back and start to make this shape here. See how I'm making that shape there? So you're working from both sides, trying to flatten it out. But in the meantime, you want to make the shape of the flipper, which is this shape here. See, I'm just using my fingers to make that shape. See that? Just like that. Very easy to do. When you break it into small, simple steps, it makes it very easy. Now I'm going to take and make the other flipper. So we're going to flatten this out like this. Just like that. See how we're doing that? Flatten it out, then try to make that shape of the flipper. I want to make, so I want to see, and see how these are approximately the same size now? Because you want to make sure they're roughly the same size. So I'll just shape it a little bit more. And then I want to kind of see where I need to put, so if this is the head, it looks like the flippers go somewhere in here. So what I'm going to do is, so I can take that, I'm going to take and put the flipper right about there. You see, I just squeeze it on like that. And then from the other side, I'm going to take the tool and push clay up underneath it so it makes sure that, to make sure that it's attached properly. See that? And then I want to smooth this out a little bit with the tool. Just to get the, see how we did that? Now I want to go and do the same thing on the other side. So what I'm going to do, flip this around, and what I'm doing is I'm looking to say, okay, where is, making sure the flipper is going to be on the same, like that, but I'm also trying to make sure that they're the same at the same height. So see, I'm putting that like that. See how I did that? Then we'll flip it over, and we'll do this. So I want to make sure that it's properly attached. Now, the next thing that we want to do is, I want to look at make sure they're approximately the same. There's a little fin right up here. See where my thumb is right here? I'm moving my thumb right there. We want to put another little fin right about there. So I'm going to get a piece of clay. I have some extra clay over here. And we're going to add that little fin. So I'm going to take this little piece of clay off there. What you want to do is almost make it look like a little shark fin of sorts, like that. See? Flatten out, and then make that shape. Now I want to see if it's approximately the right size. It looks like it's a little too big. So I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom. I just pinched a little more clay off there. So this is more of the size we want. So I want to look, and it looks like I should put it approximately here. See that? And put it on the top. See how I did that? And I'm going to take and go around. And like I said, we'll do the same thing with this thing. We'll go around, make sure that it's properly attached so it doesn't come off. It's got a little metal ball on the end of it, so, and then I'll swing over here and do the exact same thing. See how I did that? And then we can smooth it. Now we can take this and kind of smooth it out a little bit so it doesn't look rough anymore. We smooth it out like that. So I'm going to even take my fingers and go right beside it also, so we can do that. But see how this whale is really starting to take shape now? It's pretty cool the way you figure there was only like 4 balls of clay that we started with, and now it's starting to look like the blue whale. Smoothing out a few areas that seemed a little rough still. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is I want to roughly see whales breathe from the top of their head. So I want to get another little piece of clay like this. I'll show you. This is about the size that we want. See that right there? Whoop, it fell. So what I want to do, I'll show you, is we're going to make the blowhole. And that's the top, on the top of the head. Right here is the blowhole for the blue whale. He actually has 2 nostrils up there side by side when he surfaces, and we're going to put a little piece of clay there for his blowhole, and I'll show you how to do that. We're going to take this, I'm going to make sure he's about the right, and I'll put that piece of clay up here. See that? And we're just going to work it in like that, take our fingers, put it up top there. See how I'm doing that? Just like that. Now, what I want to do is I want to get one of my little tools here, and I want to make the blowhole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of little slits up top here for the blowhole. See how I did that? Then we're going to take and do the other side. Now, what we also want to do is I want to start to make the eyes and the mouth, and I'll show you. The whale has, this is a baleen whale, and what I mean by a baleen whale, see this mouth here? These whales here don't have any teeth. They have, instead of eating with having teeth to eat any like fish or anything, they eat something called krill. It's like, they're like little, like plankton. I'm trying to think what I can compare. They're almost like little shrimp. And they use this baleen to screen all the water out so they can take it in their mouths and eat it. So I'll show you how we'll make the mouth. And, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this. We're going to go like this. And then we're going to take, see how I'm going to curve down a little bit and come back up like that. See how we did that? I'm going to just do it one more time. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. The next thing that I want to do also is I want to make the eye. So I'm going to take this here and put that in, and the eye is approximately in this location here. See how I'm doing that? And we're going to do the same thing on the other side, but I want to make sure it's in the right place. Because what I'm doing is I'm measuring from here to here to make sure that I'm putting it in the right place. I'll make that line a little better. And then what I'm going to do is make the line go around like this. So he's really starting to come along. The next thing that I want to do is take a little piece of clay, and I'll create a little eyeball for each side. So I'm taking a little piece of clay like this. It's really tiny. I think you can, oops, see that? That, and what we're going to do is just put this in here, where I made that eye socket. And then we'll do the same thing for the other side. I'm going to take and put that on the other side. Put the eye in there like that. See, for the whale, I put that in. And then what we want to do is I'm going to take this here, and right where I put, right in the center of the eye, I'm going to put like a little hole. See that? And then we're going to go to the other side and do the same thing. See how I did that? Now, there's one more thing that we need to do in order to finish up the whale. They have almost like they look like lines in the bottom. They go to about here. So we're going to make lines in the bottom of here, and that's like the blubber on the bottom of the whale. And I'm going to show you how to do that. We're going to take this tool, and I'm going to start here, just kind of go like that, and then just go underneath like that. See that? See how I'm doing the line? We'll do that like that. And then we're going to do the other side also. Take and do that. You see how I did that? See those lines? And that's how you do that particular piece. And now I'm going to look at the whale. It looks like we have everything done on the whale now that we need to do. And I'll show you what the final version should look like. This is the final version of the whale after it's been fired in the oven. This is, you can see like the eyes. You can see how I did the mouth. You can see the flippers. This is like the top part of the whale. See how we got the twin blowhole up there? Little fin there. The tail flukes here. Then I'll flip it over so you can see everything. And you can see how we made the lines into here. And see how that's what it should look like from that side. And then I'll flip it over here. And that's what he should look like from the other side. And that's a blue whale. And I do want to thank you for coming to Creations of Clay tonight. And I do look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye for now.